Human life, a crossroad. This session is going to be very important because it deals with the object of human life, the goal of human life. Our today's speaker is Miss Meera Ramanathanji. She is from Oak Ridge, Tennessee. She grew up there and she received Jnana from Kanu Dadaji. Currently, she works as a director of global sustainability. We welcome you, Meeraji. Thank you very much for joining. So nice of you. And I give the charges to you now. Please carry on.
Jai Sachidanand, thank you, Uncle. Thank you, everyone. I'm so honored to be here. This Nyan from Dada is such a beautiful and scientific event that I'm very happy to talk about as a human, how that has affected also our life and also how we obtain Nyan. So thank you again for this honor of presenting to you. Now let's see if this thing moves forward. Let's see. Let's see if it does. Otherwise, Uncle, you may have to do it.
Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. So the path to moksha, we've all heard about moksha. We've all heard about how that is the ultimate that we need to be. And we, in this life, this is what we are striving for. But the path to moksha or moksha marg only becomes when we attain self-realization, when we understand who am I, who we are, who I am in the case of me. The thing is, the one who gives us that path on how we achieve moksha is a Jnani Purush. And that Jnani Purush comes only once in so many millions of years. And the reason that he is the Jnani is because he is the one, he's instrumental, he's the nimit that is instrumental to us to attain moksha because he is actually experienced that Shuddhatma. We only read about it as humans, we only understand it. We don't understand it. And even all of the acharyas who have written books, who we've seen, unless you actually experienced it, you cannot give us that jnana for us to go on that path. And so once you meet that Jnani Purush, he is that nimit that will give us that jnana. But only in this human birth, only as a human, can we meet that Jnani who will give us this divine jnana. And we're all blessed because we did get to meet one. Next slide, please. Then can we move? Is it? Perfect. So there are two different types of path to get to moksha. One is the kramic path and one is the akramic path. So in the kramic path itself, there are certain things, and in the akram path, there are certain things. Would someone like to read what is all the steps of the kramic path?
Yes, of course.
Oh, thank you, Shaila. Thank you.
Kramic path, step path to liberation, depends on punya and pap, on how fast you get there. Life after life, you learn the same thing and ignorance prevails until you meet a gnani.
Thank you, Shailaji. Thank you. I appreciate that. Would someone like to read about the akram path? I could also read the akram. Yes. Yes, Uncle.
Shaila ma'am, please read Akram Path also.
Okay.
Yes, please read the akram path also.
Okay. I'm getting old and my phone is small, but elevator path to moksha, akram path. Elevator path to moksha depends only on gnan obtained from grace of the Gnani Purush, ignorance is removed and true understanding prevails. Moksha is attained. Do you want me to read the bottom?
Yes, please. Yes, please.
Both paths require a human birth to meet a Gnani and attain liberation.
So thank you, Shailaji. So basically, the two paths are the paths that are available to us as humans, and the two paths are different. One is you take this very long time. You don't know really what you're doing. You're walking through a forest without any real vision on where you need to go until somehow you stumble across a jnani, and that jnani will give you that jnana. The other one, the akram path, is that you understand that the jnani is there. By the grace of that jnani, by the grace of all of these um, years of wanting this, you obtain jnana from this jnani purush, and you start on your path, the fast, quote unquote, fast path of reaching moksha. But both of them, both paths, you still have to be a human, because only as a human and obtaining this human birth will you be able to meet that jnani and attain liberation. Next slide, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
So in this human life, there is 4 roads that you could take. Okay, if human life is one of these 4 roads, basically, I'm sorry. Human life is one of these 4 roads. One road is life in heaven, which is all of the celestial beings. Another is life in hell. A third one is Tiryanchkati, which is the life of birds and animals. And the fourth one is the human life. So even though in that other path, the Kramik path, we could be going based on our punya and our pap to any of these 4 roads at any point in time. There's no real path, and really it's Vivastit Shakti based on what we have done that guides to each of these paths. But obtaining, once you have this human life that we have now achieved, obtaining that human life after so many of these other lives, now is the time when we get that blessing to obtain Jnana after meeting a Jnani. So we cannot waste it. We should not waste it. Next slide, please, Uncle. So first I want to talk to you about the life in heaven, the life of celestial beings. So basically, the celestial beings, the Devatas, they all are extremely happy in these regions, right? They have so much freedom. I mean, as I'm only imagining that they have, they just live whatever and however they want to live, however they feel. Everything, every life is every day of every life that they live, all of their 5 senses are really happy, and in all of this, seeking pleasure, having pleasure, getting pleasure in everything. But their mind is very restless. Their mind is very restless. Because why? Because they don't know who they are. They don't know who I is in their state. So they have no idea of the pure soul. They don't remember the pure soul, and therefore they have no idea of liberation. Next slide, please, Uncle.
Yeah.
Would anyone like to read what happens when they are plagued by
Please.
this? Please, would anyone like to read? Or I can read it also. I can tell you as well. I'll read. So even though they're so excited about their lives and they do everything with all this full pleasure, ultimately, just like anything else, they get really upset. They get restless, they have jealousy, they have boredom. I mean, it's basically like, and Uncle has placed this excellent example. it's like when you go and you go to a marriage ceremony or you go anywhere to this huge party and you're eating and drinking and you're every day you're all excited and you're eating this rich food. And then sometimes you just want to go home and eat dal chawal because you know what? In the end, that's what's your core and that's what you need. So these devatas, believe it or not, crave for human life because they know that when they're born in Bharat, if they're born in India or they're born in the US or they're born within an Indian family, and they eventually, in that human life, is the only way that they can meet that Jnani Purush and finally attain moksha. So it's again a blessing for us. We always want in many scriptures and many things, many religions, many anything, they always tell you like, go to heaven. But in essence, Dada has shown us what life in heaven is actually like, and we should appreciate our human life. Next slide, please. Of course, just like being in heaven, the other side of it is life in hell. Um, I'll read this because even seeing this on the screen really, it was so much for me. But basically, life in hell is painful. And I couldn't even find a picture because it was so bad. So Dada says that in hell, in the real hell, in when you are there, you die out of fear. It's
My
it's
God.
it's just horrible, right? It's almost like in his example, it's 100,000 times more painful than when you see rice being boiled. So you get your limbs cut off, you get it rejoined, you basically and Dada also says it's cold. Sometimes it is a space where it's so cold, it's like live in the Arctic and you have no warmth anywhere within or without. Basically, it's a place where pain has to be endured, and that pain is constant. So in heaven, what for the celestial beings, the pleasure is constant. Here in hell, the pain is constant. But either one is basically either the punya or the pap that's being discharged. So you're discharging all of that, then you want to come back again to another life so that you can get moksha. But life in hell is like pretty much lifetime punishment. Until that pop is completely discharged, you have to go through this pain. And so this is not something we wish on anyone, but this is one of the other paths that Nada was mentioning that are are present. And now we'll go into the third path that we could potentially take because we didn't understand Nyan. Can you go to the next slide, please? So the third path that we could take is the life of birds, animals, insects, plants, basically everything else, which is Tiryanchgati. So I know I put so many things. Does anybody want to read any of these things, or I will read it myself? I don't know. What do you guys suggest? Would you like
I'll
to?
read Chandrakant.
Thank,
Yeah,
thank,
please.
please. Thank you, Lala. Thank you, Lala.
Meera, I will read.
Thank
Insects,
you.
Tiryanchagati,
Mm,
trees, plants live possessing one sense faculty, that is touch.
mm,
Birds and animals experience endless pains like the man condemned to dark cell in darkness and served only two meals. Such are the dense layers and veils on the soul. If human beings who possess five sense faculties have to suffer so much, how much would be the suffering of those who have fewer senses? There is no creature that has
mm.
six sense faculties. These insects, birds, and animals bide their time in Tiryanch Gati. It is like their rigorous imprisonment.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh,
Oh, thank you, Lala uncle. Basically, this Tiryanchkati, Dada says, the Tiryanchkati comes these in these forms based on there's so many scientific reasons why um, even the forms of the animals, the forms of the plants come. I read someplace that Dada said that if for elephants, for instance, the reason that the body of an elephant has come for this as a discharge is because that person in their previous life had done some gutbud with the government and it was bad, and then they came in this form. There's each form, and there's so many millions of forms also of birds, animals, insects, and plants. Each of these is because of some previous something that has come, some previous aspect of life that has happened that you have changed. And based on that, you come into this life. Once you come into this life, it is only a discharge. Everything you have to face, you may not have a voice, like if you're a dog or a cat, you get something happens to you, you don't have a voice to say that something is happening. If you are a tree, you're standing still someplace and people are cutting, somebody is sitting on you, a bird is pecking at you. There's so many other problems that happen. All of this is in this Tiryanshkati. Dada also says that Tiryanshkati happens even if we have one worry in the world, meaning we take over that doership and we basically are thinking that this body is doing so many things and we worry that we won't get something. Dada says even that one worry, however that worry is, will send us into Tiryanshkati because we are not seeing that it is Vivasthit that is managing all of these aspects of our life. We are not seeing that we don't have any, this body doesn't have any doership, any ownership. It is just moving along, and our sole purpose should always be to get Jnana and to attain that experience of Shuddhatma. But all of these different paths are there if we didn't know and if we didn't have the grace of the Jnana. Next slide, please. And now finally, we come into the human life. Human life, of course, is very comfortable, very easy. We don't see how easy it is, but now that we know all of the other lives, we see that, yes, indeed, it is easy. Only in the human life can we change our destiny, meaning we don't have to go back into that path, that 4-layer path. We can actually go forward to Jnana. So there are 14 lakh layers of human beings. 14 lakh layers. So many layers, even that, of human beings because of the billions of worlds that there are. In that way, by way of karma, jiva of that Shuddhatma is transferred into any of those paths, in any of those 4 roads. But only when we attain that human life, and again, also only in that human life, only if we have wished after millions of years to meet a jnani, do we meet one, and only then, even after meeting a jnani, do we have the good fortune of obtaining jnana. So in essence, it's like the probability of this life happening, the probability of us getting a human birth, meeting a jnani, obtaining jnana, and moving forward is so small. So the fact that we have attained it and we have it means that now we move forward in Jnana and keep the constant experience of the pure soul. Can we have the next slide, please? Any questions? Any comments? Anything? We can move on to the next slide.
Meera ji, will you please get closer to your mic so that your
sorry.
Please.
Oh, yes. You know what's also funny is because it's so early in the morning.
Thank you.
I'm talking very softly.
It's very
sorry.
nice.
Oh yeah, but can you, as long as you can hear me, I just want to make sure you can hear me. Yes,
All right.
it's okay. Okay, thank you. And the next slide, please. So
Yeah, yeah,
basic.
yeah.
So basically, now Lala uncle and Chandrakant uncle basically have put these slides because these are the also the types of things that as a human being without understanding Nyan that can potentially happen, which would give us pop immediately when that happens. Does someone want to read this? Would someone like to read what happens? It's called, I'm sorry if it's Pop Papanu Bandi Pop. So basically
I
that
can
we
read
are,
it.
oh, thank you, Shaila. Thank you. I would
Okay,
love
okay.
that.
Welcome, welcome.
Okay. So Papanuband Pop
Mm-hmm.
accruing new evil karmas
Mm.
while suffering on maturing of old evil karmas. When a person suffering the fruit of his evil deeds still continues to be in the same rut, he
Mm-hmm.
keeps on inflicting pain to other living beings and enjoys it sadistically. Example, a butcher, fisherman, or hunter already suffering poverty and yet inflict pain on living beings and accrue new evil karmas. Not
So
now and never later. So I'm not sure
okay.
what that means. Okay, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. So
So it's a
basically,
happiness, not now and never later.
and never later. It's
Yeah.
the happiness is not now and never later. But in this pop, so it could be that the butcher, the fisherman, or the hunter has to do their job, right? This is what, if before Nyan, we knew that this butcher, fisherman, hunter is poor. They're already having to have this job where they have to kill. And the only way that they, and because of this killing, is the only way that they can provide for their family. This is before Nyan. Now, after Nyan, we know that this poor human, this butcher, fisherman, or hunter, um, because of their previous life, where they are discharging that evil deed, they are discharging the fact that, you know, in their previous life, they've done something where
Hmm.
they now have to come back in this life as a butcher, fisherman, or hunter and still continue to have this pain, still continue to inflict pain. We know that they are binding new karmas. Now, if this butcher, fisherman, or hunter gets Nyan in this life, and they, or even if they have that inner bhav to say, I don't want to do this, please, please, I don't want to do this in this life, I don't want to, then they will go and they will get a new life where they won't have to be inflicting pain. But that inner bhav and that inner that the fact that
Support.
they understand they're in this place is the reason for um, this is why our Nyan is so powerful. Even for us to look at this, as we see this, we see that, oh, this poor thing, their previous life, they've done this. Now, hopefully, that they can move forward. Even for us, that understanding has come because of Nyan and the fact that we see this type of pop is what another form of pop that if we lived in that chronic path, we would never know that why we're going to hell after this again, why we're coming out to heaven, why we are doing this. But this is one of the pops that happen. So thank you. I didn't write in the happiness, not now or never. Uncle, thank you. Thank you for asking that, Shailia. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. Next slide, please.
Yeah, yeah.
Would somebody like to read Punya Nubandi Pap, accruing new good karmas? Does somebody want to read that or I can read it? What do you suggest? I can read. I'll read. Punya Nubandi Pap is accruing new good karmas while suffering the resultant effect on the maturity of old evil karmas. So When a person suffers on account of his past evil karmas, but accrues new karmas of goodness, now in this life, then in the next, that means he's accruing punya, which means that he can go perchance to heaven next time. So, for instance, this would be like, okay, to take the thing of the hunter, fisherman, whatever, the one that has to catch living things and kill them, and because he has poverty and he has to support his family. In this life, in when he is accruing punyanubandhi pap, basically he understands that he's killing things, even though his family is suffering. He understands he's killing things, but he refuses to do that, and he says, despite all of this, I'm still going to, do something else that is not what I'm supposed to do. Maybe I can, you know I can work someplace as a contractor, where work someplace as something else other than this. So he leads a good life, despite, with moral values, despite his present difficult life. That one results in punya. So, and that, the happiness again is not now, the happiness is later. Again, you don't have any happiness in this life because you don't know. And again, in knowing what we know, because of, by the grace of the jnani, we understand. The jnana is such that we understand that this is discharge karma. We understand that we have to do this. We understand all of these things. And we know that our life ultimately is to have the experience of the pure soul. But if we did not know that, we would accrue this punya and we would move forward perchance into a celestial life and have to go into that road. Next slide, please.
Yeah.
Now, this is the third life, which is pap anubandhi punya, which is accruing new evil karmas while enjoying the resultant effect of maturity of good karmas. Does anybody want to read this one?
Okay,
Does
I'll
anybody
read it.
want to?
Yeah.
Thank you.
On my screen,
Mm.
because of controls, Papanubandhi Punya, accruing new evil karmas while enjoying the resultant effect on maturity of old good karmas. When a person enjoys happiness due to sweet fruits of past good karmas, but accruing a horde of terrible evil karmas. At present, the people of this category are rampant. A rich man has a very spacious bungalow, but he is not able to live happily there. He is outside the house to earn more and more money by unscrupulous means. His wife is out of the house too and crazy about shopping in the fashion market, whereas his daughter is out to enjoy her car drive. The only person at home is the servant. Due to his past meritorious deeds, the rich man has bungalow, cars, fridge, AC, etc. But he accrues evil karmas at present. He wastes his time in greed and attachment, and he is not able to enjoy his prosperity. This kind of people are always looking for robbing others of their positions and sensual pleasures by deceitful means. So for them, happiness is now, but not latter. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you, uncle. So in this path, now that again by the grace of Dada we have attained Nyan, in this path everything is coming to this person because of all the previous karmas. They have done so much punya before that in their life now, they're living this excellent, what we think, excellent life. But internally, that person is not looking for moksha, is not looking for anything, or is happy with what they have. Instead, they're constantly wanting more and more pleasure. In essence, this life that is a human life that is described is very close to the Dev Devata's life too, because in the Dev Devata's life, all the pleasures are there, everything is taken care of. But in essence, you're not happy. You want more, or you don't like what this is. You feel greedy. You feel jealous of other people who have more than you. You're constantly trying to fill that void that's there with something. We know, again, because of our Nyan, because of Dada's grace, that this is because of the Purva Janma Punya. We know that. And as Mahatmas, after obtaining that Nyan, we also know this is discharge. And we know that all of this is just because of that Purva Janma. All of this is just because of all of the punya that we have done, and this is discharge, but it is not real. We know that. And that is what, again, as a human life, we shouldn't waste it, even though we all are so blessed. We know that we need to move forward and always be in moksha and want the experience of Shuddha. Any questions? Can we move to the next slide? Thank you, Uncle, for all of this. This is like the best. All of these examples are so good. I really appreciate all of this. The last one, of course, is the punyanubandhi punya, which is accruing good karmas while also experiencing the result of the previous good karmas. Does anybody want to read it, or I can read?
Yeah.
I can read?
Voluntarily.
I will read. Okay. So basically in this fourth path, what happens is you're living a good life and you're enjoying the fruits of your previous punya. So you come and now you constantly are in study, in rituals, in meditation, you assist others, you do all things that basically is also giving you new good karmas. So in this path, the person constantly does more and more good with the thoughts always not of greed, not of pleasure, not of jealousy and all of the cachets, but more on that he wants that liberation. So all of these things give punyanubandhi punya. So you're basically getting more punya. And in this path, you will meet a jnani purush and you will attain that liberation. It's interesting though, because without the good deeds that you do, you cannot possess wealth. Now, wealth is again, Lakshmi Devi is there always, but without the good deeds, you cannot possess that wealth. But you have to understand what kind of these good deeds are to see how you can move forward to the result. So, for instance, in the same path of the butcher or the hunter, this person, and in the same path as the rich man who's not happy, in this life, in this one, you are happy now because you understand that discharge that is happening now is because of your previous karma, and you understand where you want to go, which is towards moksha. So this life, you're happy now, happiness is now, and you get happiness later as well. And that's the other, for the next slide, please. Does anybody have any questions, concerns, comments? Ah, but how can you tell how truly meritorious you are? How truly um, moving forward you are? Does anybody want to read?
Yeah,
Who
may
is
I
the
invite
one,
someone?
I'll,
two, and third?
I
Yeah,
will
yeah,
read.
please.
Oh,
Yeah, please,
perfect. Thank
Shailaji.
you, Shaila. Please,
Okay.
please. Thank you.
Okay.
So
How
the
to tell how much meritorious one is. The one
yes,
who spontaneously happens to have a thought gets instantly what he wants without even a desire or any sort of labor. The
Mhm.
one, hmm, the one who
Hmm.
ranks second, who desires and decides again and again, and by evening gets it easily. The third rank is the one who desires, goes through some efforts, and gets what he or she wants.
Exactly. Thank you, Shaila. Thank you. So basically, you can tell. You can tell. You can see people, that go and suddenly they say, "Oh, you know what? I'm going to buy a new car," and they think about it, and by evening they would buy a car. Let's say, or the second rank is the person who says, "You know what? I really want a car. I have to figure out how to get it. Let me think about it. Think, let me go through this thing." And then by evening, they can do it. The third one is one who wants a car, but he has to go to the bank. He has to figure out if he has enough money. He has to figure out if he has enough space. And he or she decides that they're going to, okay, maybe what type of, I don't know, maybe this is too big, this is too small, all of that. And then they get what they want. But what Dada's saying with these examples, though, is that you can almost tell this is discharge. All of this is discharge for sure. But you can tell who are the people that have so much punya from the past. Who are these people that come with this bank of punya that they are now discharging now? And this is how you can see. The one who gets it immediately has a big store load of punya back there. The one, and then the punya is like lower, lower, lower. So you can also tell how people are. And again, we, because of Dada's grace, we also don't have any issues with the people that have rank one, two, or three, because we know that it's discharge and we know that it is from their previous punya stores, banks that they come and they hold. Next slide, please.
Yeah, two more ranks.
Two more ranks, I know. Oh, so the fourth rank, and I'll go ahead and read for time. The fourth rank is the one who desires, and then he gets it, but after a lot of work, a lot of work. So in this person, he wants a car, he can't get it, he has to go get another second or third job, they has to find money to get that car. Finally, after a long, long time, he still gets it done. He still gets it, but there's a lot of work because his punya stores are so much, and his pop stores are there too. The fifth one is one who desires, who wants, but then he fails to get what he wants. His desire is such that he wants this car, but he doesn't have the money. People tell him, "What? Why do you need a car? Why don't you just take a bus? You don't have the, you don't have the, even you don't know if you want to spend money for that car or the food that you need at home. You try so hard on so many things, but you just don't achieve that goal." For we in worldly life, we see this and we say, "Oh, that poor thing can't get it, that's so sad." We see all of these things, we see people complain, we have all of these things. With Nya and with Dada's grace, we see again, it's just discharge. Even if this whatever rank we are in, if it's rank 1 through 5, which could be anything for anybody, and we see it, it's all discharge. There's no need for us to be jealous or greedy or worry about the rank number 1 because we say it's discharge. Similarly, we also don't feel sad or pity or be concerned for the number 5 because again, it's discharge. We have to remain in Nyan to see that. And because of Dada's grace, it's always Dada's grace, we know even though that there are these ranks of people and there are these ranks of punya that have gotten people like this, we know it's all discharge. For us, all we want is to move forward and get moksha. But again, this is how in the worldly life we see how people attain and how the punya and the pap is working. Next slide, please. So says Dada Bhagwan. So would anybody like to read? This is what Dada Bhagwan has said. Would anybody like to read this slide? This is the ultimate of Dada's speech.
Yeah, voluntarily, please. Anybody?
Voluntarily. Yeah, anybody, please jump in. Please jump in.
Voluntarily.
I can read.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh,
Shaila
Yes,
yeah.
ma'am.
Vaishas. Yeah.
Go, Shaila, go.
Vaishas. So says Dada
Nice American
Bhagwan.
style reading. Yeah, please.
Oh, thank you. If you give peace and happiness into
Happiness is
any
happiness.
living being,
Yes.
you accrue
Happiness too.
atoms of goodness, punya karma, and if you give pain, you'll accrue less atoms of evil deeds. For example, sin, pap, karma. The resultant effect of deeds of goodness, punya karma, is happiness and fulfillment of your wishes.
Oh,
See, Dada said it so cleanly and clearly. Anytime you give peace and happiness to any living being, you give peace and happiness, then you're automatically accruing punya. And if you give pain, if you hurt them, you give yourself pap. So you get either punya or pap. And this again is relative living. So always, but if you think about it, if you want to be happy, and Dada says, you give peace and happiness to everybody. That's the goal, right? We don't want to hurt anyone. We don't want to hurt anyone in mind, speech, or body. And that's one of the things that we pray for always, that we don't do that. And the reason is that you want to make sure that when you do this, and Dada has seen, when you give pain, you get pap, and you may be, you may not, in the worldly relative life, you basically are hurting someone. You're giving them problems. You're doing all of these things. So Dada says, always give peace and happiness. Don't harm anyone in word, thought, or action. You not only attain, and we know it's discharge, but the punya karma that you do accrue will always take you forward to liberation.
yeah. Very fine.
Oops. Next slide, please, Uncle.
Yeah, yeah.
Whenever you get there, don't worry. It's okay.
Yeah.
Whenever that happens.
Thanks, please.
But if you do hurt someone and you do evil deeds and you do bring on pap karma to yourself, you will get a life that is unhappy. You will get a life that, basically you're not going to get your wishes. You're not going to get the things that you desire quickly. And the way that Dada has mentioned this is that everything based on not just our actions, not just if you hurt someone physically, but also mentally with thoughts. You're constantly setting that balance of punya karma and pap karma. constantly, and it is affecting your daily life, your relative life, your existence in this birth all the time and the next. Because whatever, even though this is all discharge and you are living this life, let's say you're working and suddenly you're driving a car and you say, oh, I'm going to take this path and these people are there, but it's okay if I hit them because anyway, it doesn't matter because they're there. That is pav karma. So you may think, oh my God, this is a faster way to get to the bank or whatever, and you're hitting people or you hit some animals or, you do whatever you do, knowing that that is pop and still doing it, you're basically ensuring that your next life is bad, that you, in this life itself, you'll get caught by the cops and it's bad, all of these things. The other hand, if you accidentally are driving, if you're driving a car and this car just takes you to this place and you hit all of these people and you feel like, oh my God, I've hit these people. This is so bad. I'm so sorry. I didn't know. I didn't mean to do this. I didn't mean to do this. And you say this when you get there, in this life, you may have to pay for it, but in the next life, you won't because you're really feeling sad. So hence, what does Dada say? Use the powers. Does anybody want to read it? We can each read one of them because each of this is so powerful what Dada is saying. Does somebody want to read it? Shailya? Go, Shailya, go.
I'll read the first one.
Yes.
Use the powers of mind, speech, body, and soul for public welfare.
Wow.
Yes. Always. The second one, please. Does anybody want to read? Chandra?
Ma'am, please continue.
Yes. God says, Shaila, would you like to read that too?
If you say so, okay.
Please.
God says, use your mind, speech, body, and soul for others. After that, if any sorrow comes to you, then tell me.
Oh,
So Dada says, basically, and I'll read the third one, the one who misuses the power loses the power. And always, last one, Lalanka, would you like to read that one?
Yes, a person should contribute to the welfare of the world anyway. That is best way to earn meritoriousness.
wonderful.
Yes. So Dada says, always, as we help others, as we help the world, we help ourselves to get towards moksha. Always when we help, when we use our powers of mind, speech, body, and soul for everyone else and really make that vow, we will not harm anyone in word, thought, or action. Always we get towards moksha and we open up the experience of that pure soul.
Mm.
And that is Dada's. That is all due to the grace of Dada. Jai Satchidanand. I
Wow.
think that's it. And
Thank you
this is
very
what-
much, Meera ji.
Thank you. I
The
hope
session was really very, very effective, and this session has answered a few very difficult questions which may harass many times some or the other person. The first such question is, how do wicked people prosper in the world? This question really tortures so many people. Once when I was student, I could not understand it till I attended the session of our Lala sir, and I was very amazed by this wonderful answer because it comes from Jnani Purush. So it very well answered this session, answered this question that wicked people, they have that accruing bad karmas, huh? Papanubandhi punya or punyanubandhi pap whatsoever. Then secondly, this session also explains very well why the life of human being is so blessed and important. Because in other three livings, okay, somebody wants to come. Yeah, Sheshmalji. Okay, I will call you Sheshmalji. So in other three livings, there is simply discharging, whether it is the Riyanchagati, life of birds or animals, or whether it is celestialhood or uh, uh, life in hell. There is only discharging. Charging is possible in human birth, and that is why the way to liberation, as Meeraji explained very well, the way to liberation is possible in human birth, and that is why so many celestial the Devi Devtas, they long to be born as human beings. We have Lala Bhai Patel sir with us, so let me invite him for concluding comments. And before that, let me read these wonderful comments. Excellent. Thank you, Meera. So great to see and hear you. Yeah, Jai Sachidan. Thanks, Meera ma'am, for sharing. Very nice session, says Kokila Rameshwala. Thank you for your comments. Lala sir, I invite you now for concluding sessions, and other participants, if you have any query or if you have anything to add, you can do that after Lala sir's comment. Lala sir, please.
Chandrakant Sheshmalji raised his hand.
Yeah. Sheshmalji, I think he has left,
He's left.
or there might be some network issue.
Oh, yes. So thank you, Meera,
Thank
and
you, Sachidanand.
for the good session. And we also wanted you to be here in this program, and it was possible. This is a very important thing, and see, when I can relate to one thing, when I met Dada Bhagwan, 1985, I was hardly 30. And I asked him one question, that Dada, I have studied many things, listened many discourses, but I am not clear what is in my hand and what is not in my hand.
Hmm.
Right. So this was the question, and this is the answer. The session gives the answer to what is in my, and it was very good thing put on your part. Let's say it helps us to understand the world, and without um, any type of judgment, we don't feel any hate or attachment. We just understand, right? So this is a very good concepts of 4 types of, let's say, that is a matrix of Punya and Papa. It's a wonderful thing, and it helps us to deal with the people and without any judgment or without any ragdvesh. That is one thing which you have pointed out. It is very much helpful. And it gives to the world in general also. Also, another point which you have made is good, that we know what kind of phase we are undergoing. Right? All these 4 types of punya, they are not lifetime, They are like they are always splitting in nature. You may be in one phase at one time, second, okay, so another time you'll be in another phase. So it's like changing continuously. So, but you know it, that this is the kind of uh, maturing of my this kind of karma, why I'm undergoing this. And one thing which I got clear idea during this session is that is the low, your thinner your punya, we can say. You have to work hard. So Chandrakantji, it
Yes,
gave
sir.
message That if you are not succeeding, that means your punya is not that strong.
Yeah, yeah.
What is the corollary? That you have work hard,
Yes.
right?
Mm.
And
That's
don't envy others. Say,
yes.
if I am not getting promoted in our organization,
Mm.
somebody is getting promoted easily. Okay. So this was a wonderful thing which just clicked to my mind during this session, that the Dada leaves a scope for even hard work also. Right. So
Yes.
wherever you are falling short of the required intensity of your punya karma,
Mm.
you work slightly harder, even
Yes.
harder.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And still, if you don't get the success, still you have the explanation that no doubt, okay, I did my job,
Mm.
and that's all. Right. So this gives so many clear ideas and eliminates kind of bad accruing of bad karmas. See, especially in case of when you envy somebody, you are jealous of somebody,
Mm.
you are actually attracting even worse kind of karmas. That stops.
Mm.
Okay, sometimes you think, "Arey, in India also it happens. So this fellow is illiterate and he has become a minister.
Yeah.
He has become a minister. He has something, some backing of punya karma with him.
Mm.
And again, these are all fleeting. Okay,
Mm.
so nothing is permanent.
Right,
So
right.
it helps us a lot in taking a life, how to take our life and not to earn, especially bad karmas while undergoing good karmas or bad karmas.
Mm.
Right. So this session is actually, if with one thinks through his life, it will help a lot.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Even if you have jnana or not,
Mm.
Mm.
this jnana, verbal jnana itself comes from the jnani purush. And that definitely you can, and it is all you can apply it very well through your life, others' life.
Mm.
So this helps a lot. Sometimes you see in astrology,
Mm.
they call it Sada Sati in Gujarati. Sada is 7.5 period.
Yes, 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 yes,
Uh-huh.
yes.
I had undergone, I know that.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
when I tried to relate, and even the astrologer also said that you are undergoing this 7.5 years, you have to go intense karmas.
Mm.
Okay. But that gave me a solace. Okay, once that is over, all those karmas will also go away. No?
Right, right.
So these are your karmas. They are coming with full force. They are going also. Right?
Mm.
So this way, it helps us a lot, taking any types of, facing any kind of circumstances. So in world at large, this is very, very useful to understand and once for all, because it's a science. Science is what you have to know only once,
Mm.
Yes.
right? And just go on applying wherever we are, in whatever circumstances. So thank you, Meera, once again for your entry. And thank you, Shelaben, for helping Meera and all of
Yes.
us.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Huh? Thank you, all
And
the
thank you.
listeners.
And thank you both, because that
Thanks a lot.
presentation was amazing. That
Thank you.
presentation
Please,
Thank
was
you,
so
Lala sir. And
please
thank
keep.
you, all the participants. Today, I can see Mr. Suresh Desai ji has also joined, Shekhar and Ambika, Pooja
Suresh
Patel,
bhai Desai.
Shaila Mulji ma'am, Kokila Wala, Dr. Baldev. Thank you very much. And with this, we conclude here. And the next session will be taken by Miss Rani Krishnan, and it will be about illusion and impermanence. So please do come back after a fortnight. Notification will be shared on WhatsApp and email. Thank you, Miraji.
thank
America,
you.
good night. Jai Sachidanand.
Good
And
night.
Jai
India,
Good
do
night.
Satchidanand.
take good care of
Thank
yourselves.
you.
Jai Sachidanand. Thanks a lot.
Yes.
Wonderful.